Dave here. How are you? Today is Mother's Day in Australia. It's like we're ahead of the rest of the world, except for New Zealand and a couple of other places. Today is the 9th of the 5th, and not only is it Mother's Day, it is my eldest granddaughter's birthday. She's turned 24 today. Doesn't that make me feel ancient? All right. So on the show today, I did put the title image up of a whole heap of battery chargers. Now, these are the chargers that I have behind me. And I'll tell you what, they're probably not going to be the only battery chargers I ever own, because I've discovered as you go through, this crazy thing that we do, that looks nice, I might have to buy that tool, and you jump into a whole different battery dedication, I guess. Some people will stick with one tool specific so that there's not going to be any of this mucking around. You have one charger and one style of battery and away you go. Well, they're very, very clever people. So I used to have all of my, thanks guys for letting me know that the AV is coming through well. Happy Mother's Day to all the mums out there. And I hope everyone's had a great week. There's not going to be too much formality about the show today. It's just basically going to be a beginner's style show. I'm going to do some cutting on the table saw. I'm going to create a dado with a router. I will actually be using my router table to do that. You could use a straight edge and just an ordinary router to push through. You can use a straight edge and a circular saw to cut the pieces out if you want. I'm going to give you the dimensions. It's very, very basic. Or if you have a track saw, you can use a track saw as well. I'm going to be nailing and gluing. You can use a hammer and ordinary nails. I'm going to use a little nail gun. And it's a basic build. Now, why am I doing it? Well, my previous battery charging station had a nice big shelf across the top, and I had my charger sitting on that shelf and actually held in position. And there was this other area ready for more battery chargers to go on. And it became a dumping ground for things. And that was just terrible. So it became a mound of things. And yesterday I got the wheelbarrow out and just grabbed everything, popped it in the wheelbarrow. And I've cleared that wall away. It's just totally clear now. I can wheel my machines up to it and leave them up against there. I'm going to put the new battery charging station just over here. And all of my chargers, instead of being flat on the top, we're going to mount them vertically, that way up, because that will work. Now you'll find most battery chargers these days are designed to mount vertically, and also they'll have these little connection points on the back. And if you look hard enough, you'll see that they've got the dimensions for center to center for you to put the screws in as well. Now these are just standard 8 gauge or 10 gauge screws, should work fine with this. Very, very basic design. Now the other thing that I was thinking before we get too far into it was, if I have all of these battery chargers, and for whatever strange reason it may be, maybe the sun's shining and I want to take advantage of my solar power that I've got, I might want to throw all of the batteries in and have all of the battery chargers powering along. That I thought might be an issue for something like this. Now this is just a standard Australian 240 volt 10 amp power board with a circuit breaker on the end there. Okay, so it's an overload switch. I looked at this and I thought, I've heard of fires from people leaving battery chargers unattended, and I've also heard of people possibly overloading them. So what I did was I grabbed all the chargers, and on the back I read how many watts they are. Now I can go up to 2,400 watts in Australia with this. Basically 10 amp times 240 volts. So 10 times 240 is how many watts? So it's 2,400 watts, which is safe on this. So this guy here is 570 watts. Now some of the chargers So that's a big whack of what I'm going to do. Some of the charges will tell you how many watts on the input, and then also tell you how many amps on the output. You haven't got to worry about the output because that's how much is pushing into the battery, not how much it's pulling from your power supply that you've plugged into. Okay, so this little guy here is 42 watts, hardly anything. I could put 30 or 40 of these onto one circuit and it's still going to be fine. All right, so this output is 2.8 amps, but the input is 42 watts, nothing. All right, let's have a look at some of the others. This one is a 75 watt input. Again, nothing to worry about. These little guys here, these are very popular, the Ryobi one. These ones are 55 watts input. Again, not much to worry about. The biggest one that I've got is this DeWalt for, let me turn around and face the audience. This one is for the big, heavy duty batteries. These things are the Flex Volts, 54 volt. So these guys here, this is a 1 hour fast charge, this guy here, for these things. And these things last forever. Okay, so this one has input 2 amps. Now remember, I've got a 10 amp circuit, so this would be, the input would be pulling 2 amps, which is 1/5 of 2400. So it's about the same as the still. So with these two, I'm on basically 1000 watts, a kilowatt. All right, so I'm still 1400 watts available. All good? So that's just the background of my precautionary thing. And again, these things have all got the dimensions. See that just here, between the screws. These are designed to go that way. See that? The battery slides into there. I'm sick and tired of having these sit up on the top, collect dust into the port, and then have to reach over and drag. And as I'm dragging, you know, the thing dislodge. Screw it like that. It's just a straight on the wall, drop the battery in. Not a problem. One of the other things I'm not going to do, which a lot of people do, is I'm not going to have an area below the battery charging station for all of my tools to go. I don't want to put my tools there. This is totally a battery charging station. If you want to do that, that's fine. Go for it. But all of my tools are normally in the sustainers. See around behind me here, I've got these sustainers here and down there, and on the wall, my DeWalt wall over there, and the Ryobi goes. These guys all live up on the wall on pegboard or whatever. I have a few batteries, but many tools. See, what most people do is they'll buy a kit. So it'll have 2 batteries, a charger, and the tool. And from there on, you can buy skin only. So that's basically just buy the bare bones tool and use the batteries you've already got. So if I had one charging station and a spot for 2 batteries basically, and then a spot for a tool underneath, I would need a spot for a lot more tools. So I've decided to steer away from that style. This thing is very, very basic. This is a drawing of what I want to do. All the chargers are going to be screwed to this vertically, and across the bottom is where the charged batteries are going to live. There's going to be a divider in the middle to basically act as a gusset, and gusset at either end. It's going to be 4 feet long and 400 millimeters high. So there you go, 1200 long, 400 high. And it's going to have a French cleat on the top. And you'll notice down the bottom here, I'm going to extend out by 18 millimeters, which is the thickness of my French cleat at the top. So when it hooks onto the French cleat, it's got a bumper to drop against the wall so it doesn't push harder. Why am I using a French cleat? Because all of the walls in here, in this particular room, are fully insulated, but the wall lining is 4.5 millimeter soft sheet cement fibre product. So it's only very, very thin and painted white. So with a French cleat, I can run a French cleat along there, possibly I'll run one about 8 feet along that wall, 2.4 metres, which allows me to hook something over and on it without actually stressing the wall at all and trying to find studs all the time. So it's put it on, take it off, put it on, take it off. That's basically where we're going to go. So let's get started. I'll have a quick look down the chat section to start. And what do we got? Harry, morning everyone from New Jersey. Louis Davis, hi from Sydney. West Side Will, hello from upstate New York. Kiwi 007, Metabo tried to reduce this with the cordless alliance system. Unfortunately, not many participants. Ronganzi, morning. Matthew, Leah, hi all. Amos, everyone please hit outdoors with BT. Morning Dave, morning all. If I've missed anyone, because I've just been prattling on, saying happy Mother's Day to everyone and all that kind of stuff, and letting you know what I'm going to build and why. Hopefully we'll be able to get it all done in one hit. This, I'm going to use 18mm thick birch ply. I have a piece just here. You can see that it's been used for all sorts of things, and I thought I'll tidy it up, run it through the table saw. I'm going to rip it down to 400 wide, and then I'm going to rip another piece 200 wide. Then we're going to dock it to length, and I'm going to use the table saw and a sled for that. I'm not going to use the CapEx. Again, I'm trying to keep this as basic as possible. Most people will have a table saw. And again, as I said at the beginning, if you don't, straight stick of wood and a circular saw, and that's your guide, and away you go. All right, where are we? Quick sip of coffee. I've done all of the social media stuff. Good morning, Don. What else has been happening during the week? I hope everyone's had a good week. I'm not going to put that in my pocket. I'm going to end up turning my microphone off, and that would be terrible. All right. I must throw these on, and I'll take you down. Oh, I look like Tim Tim. People have been concerned that I'm getting too skinny. Well, even Vicky, she's saying, oh, you're starting to look a bit saggy. I don't think I'm looking saggy. I'll tell you what I've noticed. The whites of my eyes are becoming a lot clearer after I've been, on this bit of a health kick. The guns are fine. There's no fat around them. See? Up they go. Not a drama. I'm fit. I just can't believe I've dropped 10 kilos. I feel fantastic. Why not? If you're thinking about doing it, it was dead easy. Absolutely dead easy. There we go. Over to the table saw. And switch the cameras. All right. Now I've got the table saw set up with what's called a thin rip blade. Let me take those off for a second. So this is a, it's a glue line ripping blade. This is it. It's AGE, which is a German brand. It's not AEG, it's AGE. And these things are absolutely beautiful. It's got a pattern on it. I don't know if I can show you this pattern. This is the pattern just here. It's a flat top, and then it's also got a triple top on it. So this is going to give me a really, really nice cut. I had my standard rip blade in there, and I took it off because this would be too aggressive on the underside of the ply. On the top of the plywood, it'd be beautiful, but the underside would be a little bit too aggressive. So hopefully this other blade, it's an Amana blade. Hopefully it'll go terrific. And the depth of cut, I try to set it up so that we have the gullet of the blade just near the top. So I'm going to raise that up ever so slightly. See, I'll bring it up to there. This thing here is the gullet. I'm going to lower it down until the bottom of the gullet's just in line with the top of the saw. Close that off. All right. Now I want to have 400 millimeters wide to start. Move this along. It doesn't have to be exact. I came up with these dimensions just purely by measuring the depth of my largest charger and the height of my tallest battery. I'll go through that in a little bit, but we'll drop this down first. Let's get this done. Turn on the dusty. And pick this up. Now, I've built my things in the workshop here so that it's all self-supporting. So this bench here is the same height as my table saw. It just works nicely. All right, I'm back from the edge of the blade. I can put that over there like that. I could put my, yeah, why not? Let's do it. Let's do it. I'll turn the dusty off. Where is it? These are the tables. These are called table saw stock guides. And I'm locking that down with mag switches. Move this across. And move it across. I'm having a look around, see if I've got any 18mm ply here other than what's there. I'll spin this around this way. How you set these things up is you use a scrap of ply, or of the material you're going to cut, and lock it in position. And I'll lock the other one at the right height just by using a tape. (18) to the underside. I'm a little bit under-prepared here, but that's okay. Now what these do is they help me out. As I'm pushing the timber through, it's going to grab a hold of it and pull it over towards the fence. Works very well. Enough of the mucking around, let's get it done. That's the great thing about live. You can see it really is live. There's not too much stuffing around with it. Turn the saw on. All good. Well, let's have a look at the quality of that cut. I'm curious. That's, how nice is that? That's the underside. And that's the top. And look at the edge. So I'll let you know again what that is. That's a glue line rip. Very nice. Very, very nice. Okay, so that's my 400. And then we'll do a 200mm. Good. Turn him on. Turn this on. Okay, that's those two ripped to width. And now I want to do a 45. So I'll raise this up, release this, wind her up, and now let's see if I can tilt her over at 45. This is going to go across the top. Get it round so it's right on. 40, that's 42, 3, 45. I'm going to lower it down as well a little and then just bring it up slowly. And the same kind of rule applies to get that gullet in the right spot. There it is. Don't you just love it? All right, now I need, this one is going to get glued to the back of the top of the back. Does that make sense? So I'm going to just do a cut. Well, I'm going to set it up here first so I can see the width. Then after, bring this back over. Come back to about there, I think. $85, if I sight down there, that's pretty good. That'll do me. Let's see how we go with this. I haven't used this blade guard too much with running things through at 45. Could be interesting. Could be interesting. Let's have a bit of a look. Everything's locked in position. These guys are going to help me out again. This is very important. Eyes on. Cool. Okay. Catching. Let's stop. See what's going on. Let's wait. Let's have a look under there. What's she catching on? Is it catching on anything back here? It could have been. Come back and look. And back forwards. I think it was just here. I can't see anything in that area that's going to be stopping me. I'm going to bring it back ever so slowly. And we'll start again. Drop this down again. I'm going to leave the guard up for the moment, just as I see what's happening, then I'll try and lower the guard back on. It's so important with a machine like this not to force it. If it's going to resist, stop and look and check. Here we go. There she goes. I'm going to lower the guard. Actually, I'm not, because that's going to be more dangerous than what I was doing. I'll get a push stick. Keeping the stick way over to the right-hand side here as I'm going past this last bit, because the blade is at an angle, remember? Turn her off. Like this. Beautiful. Let's come back over here. All right. I'm going to... you guys are talking about the eye muffs. Daniel, this here is a wireless, not infrared control. No, okay, question regarding the French clip. This is going to get glued and nailed onto the back, and it's going to go that way. The back will be here. I'm going to make another one that's going to be about the same thickness, but longer, because I might finish off, pardon me, halfway between some studs. And I need it to be supportive all the way through. Yep. And it's scrap. I don't have to worry too much about that. Yes, so I'm using a control box from Auto Blast Gates. So autoblastgates.com.au. Go and have a look at their site. I've told you all about what I use here. I have automatic blast gates on some of the areas, and some parts I'm still going to do that. It's going to happen soon. All right, next thing to do is to dock it off with the sled. Give me a second. I'm going to switch. I'm going to have a quick look back through here first. You've been catching fish and loving it. Loving the eye muffs. Any of them fitting over glasses. Well, you just saw them go straight over my glasses then. Not a problem. Come back down to here. And to the other camera. Back to that one. All right. Bring this back over to here. And we'll switch this back around to being straight up and down. Yeah, it was just catching here. As I was pushing it through, that dag hanging off the edge was just catching there. But if it had been an issue up there, it's always, doesn't take long to stop and check. It's very important. Just stop, don't be in a rush. We're doing fine. 27 minutes past. Lovely. What are we going to do next? We're going to do stuff with the sled, that's right. So I will remove my fence and just some clear cut stock or table saw stock guides. These are great. Especially if you're doing stuff on your own. No one to help you. Of course, I haven't got any friends. They're a massive safety feature. Take this off. Over there for the moment. Now, I was going to use my big sled, but I decided to go with the other sled that's only got one side. Because I want to be able to keep the guard on. See this? I can keep the guard on this guy. Now, the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use the sled support jig that we made a couple of months ago on the show. I'll put that on here. So easy. I love it. Let's move that up to there. So I've got my slot or the dado or the mitre slot clear. Don't you love that? I do. Okay, all good. What's it catching on there? It dropped down a little. Okay, that's better. Cool. Now, I need to make sure that I'm the right height for the gullet again. Let's have a quick look. Drop it down just a touch. Or raise the blade up, I should say, just a touch. That's looking good. Now the ends are a little bit left over from the CNC machine. See how it goes up and then around and all that kind of stuff. So I will dock off a nice clean end to start. Move that across there while I get the eye muffs. You lost me at the incredibly expensive and hard to get birch ply. It's not incredibly expensive and hard to get. Well, it wasn't. I've had this around for ages. I get this from down at Granville in Sydney. Trademaster. And the last time I checked, it was the same price as I bought it 2 years ago. So you can use ordinary ply, cheap ply from Bunnings if you want to, go for it. Let's drop this. Beautiful. Slide these over. Cool. Look at that. How nice is that? That's just beautiful. We'll put it that way up at the moment. The 400 over it. This is why we've got the support for the sled. Look at that. All good. And we'll do the same for the French cleat. Now, obviously this would be a lot quicker and easier if I was to do it on the Capex, but the Capex won't allow me to come over 400 millimeters. That's one of the reasons why I'm using the sled. Move that over there. Come back to that one. You got through the whole show without glitches today, Cole. Excellent. Excellent, excellent, excellent. All right, I'm going to measure this. $1,200. Russian birch is expensive and hard to find in 4x8 sheets in the US. Stores tend to carry it in 5x5. I don't know why. Right, so I'm going to go 1,200 millimeters here. So it's that one. And these guys as well. I'm putting a mark near the front so we'll be able to see. I can line it up with the sled, on the edge of the sled, because the edge of the sled is where the saw blade is going to be cutting. So I'll use a square as well. 1,200 there. Give me a sec. And I'm not going to use any fancy squares. I'll use my old roofing square. This is not fine furniture. This is old roofing square. This is a shop project. It's nice and easy to do. $1,200. And a quick line on that one. All right, quick read. Okay, everyone's talking about Cole. Cole, you had your hour. Now, it's good that Cole managed to get the show happening. He told me last week what happened was when he moved one of the sticks, it hit one of the control panels that he's got. It's a Stream Deck, I think it's called. And as he moved this stick, it hit a button on, and it said, turn the show off. God, how bad is that? There's all of these things are waiting to hit you. All right, let's do some cutting with the other camera. I'll catch the show later on too, Cole. This one. There we go. Hey, John, how are you from Texas? All right. So the edge of this sled is, I've got to line up with that line there. And that, my friend, is perfect. Turn this on. Now the offcut may want to go out this way, but I'm way over on this side. It's not going to be an issue for me, but if you've got someone else in your workshop while you're doing this kind of stuff, don't let them walk behind the table saw when you're cutting stuff, because things can get launched and it's going to happen quicker than that. Here we go. Beautiful. It's so nice when it all works. This is the piece, as I made comment earlier, because I can't really fit this size in the Capex or the crosscut compound miter saw. This is where the table saw sled and this extension holder come to the fore. Where are we? Zachariah, all the way from Morocco, Northern Africa. Eric, it's interesting, girl, 112 and 16. Okay. Refresh the page. Click the like button, refresh the page, subscribe to the channel, do all of those things. It helps me stay keen. You know, if no one's interested in what I'm doing, I'll stop doing it. You know, maybe some people would like that. All right, I'm going to move. Look at that. Look at the cut I'm getting on that. It's just beautiful all the way around. That is a beautiful blade. Hi, Henry, how are you? Now, I need to create a dado, so I'm going to move my other video camera around this side. I don't know how that's all working there, possibly good. I'll come around this side and have a look. All right, camera 3. Yeah, it's not bad. Raise it up a little. All good. transition. Excellent. I'll bring my plan with me as well. I'm not sure which one we're using here, but let's have a look. I think I've got to put it into the small piece. Yes, I do. Now, the only reason I'm creating a dado in this is to align. So when I put the glue in it and drop the piece in, it's going to be easy. It's not going to move around whilst I'm nailing it. I don't have a router cutter that is 18. I've got a 19.05. This is 3/4 inch. It's going to be slightly more than what I want, but it doesn't matter. It's only a millimetre. So I'm going to use the small, try raise the router up. Cool. And always get rid of all the crap that gets stuck in there. Also, have a look down in the bottom if you've got a router mounted in a router table. Check there's nothing down inside there. Use a screwdriver just to go around and then blow it out. Because if you get build-up down in there as well, you're going to be in trouble if, you know, it slowly keeps on building up, and this can't get all the way down there. The whole thing is about using this as a clamp to hold this, to stop this becoming a deadly, lethal missile in your workshop. Till she starts to grab, and then I bring mine up ever so slightly, maybe a millimetre. Tighten this up. Done. Lower it down. Now, because I have a board that is a really nice big width, I don't need to have the small insert plate here. I use the small insert plate if I have smaller pieces. Like this, it's opening up the area for more dust to be pulled down. It works a lot better than if I've got a very, very tight hole around the cutter. Okay, let me have a look. I've got sound again now, I'm sure. Okay, how much? There's not much battery left in that one. I must have bumped it. I must have bumped it. All right. How long were we out? How long were we out of sound for? A long time or not? Let me have a look. No sound, quiet here, lost sound. Mic battery. How's that? All good. Charlie Chaplin, hey? Yeah. Well, I might have to invest in some new batteries. These ones have been a while. All good. Let's see how long they last for. They should be good. I checked them too. I did a quick test, but anyway. All right. Next thing to do is to do some glue. That's where that's going to go. That's going to be beautiful. Okay, I will ignore the text message, Peter. Oh, that's lovely. It's going to be great. What to do here? That's just beautiful. Glue and a brush, and then we'll put some nails in it. I should put the battery charger in the new station. Getting new end loops, get the black ones. They are pros. They're better than the white ones. I've had those white ones for around 6 years. But thank you for that, Nathaniel. We'll glue this. And these cheap interesting point there, David. Cole, what are you doing to me? You're sending out the bad vibes. We'll get that, Dave Stanton. I was thinking of using pocket hole screws. I was thinking of using dominoes. I was thinking about screwing it just straight through the back. And I thought to myself, David, we're not trying to hold up the harbour bridge. This is going to support the weight of maybe 4 kilograms total over this distance. And the glue and nails will be more than enough. I may go crazy further down the track and throw some dominoes as basically a through pin to make it look a bit sexy, but I don't know. I don't know. There we go. This I will reuse. I'm going to wash that. So it's not an issue. doing that now, as a matter of fact. A little bit of water. Great. All right. Now, what I might do to hold this steady is a couple of clamps there on the apron of my bench. If you're interested in my bench, I have put links in the description box down the bottom. It makes life so easy using this thing. So I'm going to put a couple of supports there. Actually, I might even bring that camera around and show you from this side as I do this. What could appear to be just such a simple thing is very, very handy. All right, camera 3. Go back a little. That could work. And up. There we go. Switch the cameras. Like so. What I've done is I've got a couple of dogs in down the bottom here. You can see these little dogs from John, like so. And I will sit this on those dogs. And because the piece that I'm doing is 1200 long, I'm just going to put some clamps around the outside. Like so. Now we have cushion strip on the bench at the front, so it holds it steady. It's not going to go anywhere at all. This makes life so easy. It really does. Okay, I'm going to put that on this using the nail gun. And it's always a good idea to wear eye protection and ear protection with a nail gun, even though that's only a little battery gun. It still can push a nail into my eye if I'm not careful. And it's one of those things that as we get older, we start to realize, yeah, probably not a good idea to have done a lot of things that I did when I was younger. Come on. I'm going to put a nail in that end. Come on, you can do it. That's got him. And as I'm looking down here, that's pretty cool there. There we go. Now I'm going to put a line down there, and I'll use a combination square. I can go from either, it doesn't really matter. That's the middle. This is going to let me know where to put nails. Lovely. So they don't come out the face or out the back. I'm centered there. Here we go. That's it. We've got sound, don't you worry about that. Lovely. Move those out of the way. Nearly 12 o'clock. Like a lot of the projects I do, I may end up finishing this afternoon or during the week, but I want to show you what we have here. I'll move those guys out of the way. That is the spacer that I told you about before. This is the French cleat, and we'll put the French cleat on next. So this thickness here is the same as that thickness just there. I'll make another cleat to go onto the wall, and this will hook over it. The chargers will be mounted onto this side, and the batteries are going to just sit on that shelf. I may put a gusset there to support it. But whilst we're finishing off today, let's clamp that on. Now, I'm not going to nail it. I'm only going to clamp it. We've got a couple of minutes. We've got 2 minutes left. That's fine. Just glue is all I'm going to use at this stage. I may put some screws in it later on, but I don't really need to do much to it. I'll be putting glue on this side only. You know, Type Bond is a horribly strong glue, so let's run that down there, and another one here. And I don't need to do much more to it than that. We're on the right side. Let's flip her over and put her on so it's flush with the top, so it looks nice. Give me a sec. Got an idea. What have I got here? What can I use? I'm going to be a little bit cluey. I'm going to put some dogs in here, and I've got these little caps that go on, and another one there. And let's move that out of the way. The glue's not going to go off quite yet. It can sit there. It can sit there indeed. There. And one of these. There. Cap on there. And a cap on there. Move those out of the way. Get the other clamps. I only need a few. 1, 2, 3, 4. That'll do me for clamps. And pop this on. Make sure you put the French cleaner on the right way, because that could be embarrassing if it's the wrong way. You're falling off the wall. Why isn't it sticking? Dave said it'd be fine. This is going to allow me to clamp like so. Down the other end to lock it so it's not going to go anywhere. Has moved back along. That's good. And that's good. Good. And then in the middle. And in the middle. There we go. Done. I like it. I like it. I'll show you what it looks like standing up. There we go. Spacer, French cleat there. I'll sand all of the edges, and then I'll go to the other camera at the front. So you can see what I'm going to be doing. All right, chargers, batteries. So the batteries are going to go on there, like so. And the chargers, I'm going to mount up the top. And I will be running, you know, that curly stuff that holds cables, cable tidy organizer. I'll run all of the cables through that off to the edge, and we'll put a power board in here somewhere. But I might even put the power board up the top so I can turn all of the chargers on individually. So there's 6 outlets on that. I think I'll get another one that's got 4 outlets, maybe 2 with 4 outlets, but I want them all individually switched. There we go. No nails. Don't need nails. The glue is amazing. Have you ever pulled a project apart and it's been glued and screwed and nailed and all that kind of stuff. You've taken the nails out, the screws out, and you have a devil of a time trying to get the glue off, separate it. The one that I built, that I just used standard PVA, not Type 1-3, that it's just, I don't know, it took me a while to pull it apart. And when I broke it, the glue didn't break, the timber snapped away from where it was. Okay. Group jet, Brian, no, Carl sounds lovely. Group jet, any meat that comes in a tin. How about a lip to prevent earthquake damage to the batteries? I could put a lip across the front. I had a lip on the other one. I've made it so that this is the biggest battery that I've got. So it's got around about 2 millimeters clearance. So that's a tip. Measure your biggest charger and your biggest battery. Now the still one is the biggest in both directions. There it is. There's the still charger and the still battery. So it's going to go like so. And I needed to make sure that all of my Ryobi batteries, which are basically the tallest of all of the batteries with this little tang up the top, is going to be fine and still allow the power board to go there, wherever it is. There's the power board. It's going to go up here. I reckon that's going to look really sexy. I was going to put another shelf there to put batteries on. I thought, no, anything I do like that is going to be a magnet for attracting rubbish. A flat surface is doomed. A spare flat surface is always doomed. Okay. Carl, get you to make some battery holders to mount on that shelf. I think we'll be fine. I think it's all going to be fine. All right. Well, there we go. I think that's the end of it. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. One thing I did want to say is, remember last week I showed you timing the power supply so it doesn't charge all the time. My lithiums don't charge all the time. All of my batteries, they shut the charger off, but the charger goes cold. So I don't have to worry about that. All of these batteries do that. My older batteries, the chargers did stay warm, and that was an issue. But not a bad idea, John, for people that haven't got the lithiums. Maybe they have got NiCads or nickel metal hydrides. I don't know. My pleasure. Now, last week, remember I showed you this from Alan, and I said during the show it was made out of cedar. It's not made out of cedar. That is red gum. That's the lectern on the left-hand side. Okay, I'm reading here. Bob, perfect timing on this build, Dave, as I'm in the process of rearranging my shop and wanting to improve on my battery storage setup. There you go. This is just my version. I've done it this way. I had one that I had the charger sitting flat on the top, and it was a pain. They fill up with dust. An issue, I'm sure, it's not good for electricity. And also reaching over and pulling out. These ones you have to lift up, and it was a pain. All right. Again, thanks to everyone for watching. Look after yourselves. Be nice to each other. And I shall see you next week. Don't forget, patrons, we'll have that little meeting in a couple of minutes. See you soon.